Hello everyone, welcome to this Rstudio tutorial, and in this video I'm going to share with you how to run a pad sample t-test in Rstudio. Okay, so as usual, the very first step to do anything in Rstudio is to set your working directory. So always set your working directory. For that you need to find the folder that you kept your data file and also R script and stuff like that. So firstly, go to the three dotted option, select your folder. So in this case, I have my folder on my pen drive. So it's under demo and under t-test. So I click open my folder, and then I have to set it as my working directory. Okay, so before that, I have also have my pre-written script, pre-written R script. So once you have the script loaded into your folder, you can automatically click here first, okay, and then you can make the changes to the working directory. So here my R script is labeled as pad t-test. So once I click on it, it will appear on my source. So again, just like an independent sample t-test, I have step by step what I need to run. So my first one is set working directory. So this set working directory is pretty much from my my laptop, where I kept my this demo folder for this purposes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this set working directory. So I remove this. Okay, so I just have to highlight and click delete. So once I removed or delete it, I need to set the current folder as my working directory. So for that, go to more, click on set as working directory. So once you set it, it will automatically appear under your console. So I want to copy this. So to copy this entire instruction, what I'm going to do is go into history, select on set working directory, just click on it and will highlight into blue. So you the highlighted one, go to source and then click on it, and it will automatically move under my set working directory command. Okay, so now next when I click next I open it, it will automatically read it from my folder that is being saved under my pen drive. Okay, so what will be my second step? I have to again load or activate my library. So here what I'm doing here again is I'm going to call in library stats, the stats package, and also the site package. Both of them has been installed. If it is not being installed, then you have to install through packages. Okay, so packages option are here, so you just have to install them. Okay, and then these commands, this hashtag are followed by the command that I have for me to remember. Okay, what is why I'm using this particular package. So my stats package is to run the t-test as well as to test the variances. My psych package is actually to run descriptive analysis. Okay, so once I have all this, I can actually select all of them and select run. Okay, so I'm telling the computer run all the lines. So if it is successfully I've run it, all of them will appear under the console window, and it will be all in blue. Okay, if there is an error, it will appear in red. Okay, now next is I'm going to import the data. Okay, this is a different data. Okay, so I'm telling the computer Rstudio, please read an CSV file named data_pad.csv. So if you look at the files tab, there is a data file called data_pad.csv. Okay, so I'm going to ask Rstudio to load this package or load this data or bring in this data, but label this as a data. Okay, here you can also name it as something else. You can name it as for example, with your own name. Okay, so you can call it anything. Okay, so this one is it's up to you how you wanna label it. Okay, so let's test it out. So now I'm going to import my file. Okay, So if you notice, it is successfully loaded into my Rstudio. So how do I know? Go to environment and check it out. So if you click on it, so Priya with the data frame, okay, with 20 observation and 3 variables. So if I click on Priya, if you notice, there are list of the students. There is a pre and also post. Okay, so I have 20 students. I have their scores for pre and post. So altogether three variables with 20 observations. So next is I'm going to test for the assumptions. Okay, again, just like in independent sample t-test, there are assumptions that you need to test whether your data is appropriate or not for this particular analysis. So for that, you have firstly is test for normality. So we need to check whether the data is normally distributed or otherwise. Okay, for that, I'm going to use a function called describe. Describe my pre variable and describe my post variable from the data file. Okay, earlier I had my file called data, but now it is changed to Priya. So what I need to do is these data, I need to name it as Priya because the pre values and the post values are saved in the data frame called Priya, no more as data. Okay, so for that, how do you change it? You can manually change it. Okay, so highlight it, then delete, and then name it. Or do you see a button of search here? Do you see the icon of the magnifying glass? Find and replace. So what you can do is you click on it. So find anywhere that is labeled as data and then replace it as Priya. Okay, so replace. So it will, okay, but this one I don't have to replace. So I can move on to next. Okay, here I need to replace. Okay, so I don't have to do that. Okay, so now when I ask to run the normality, I ask to describe the variable pre and also post. So I highlight both of them and click run. Okay, so when I ask to describe, so it goes by the variable. So this is the first variable and this is the second variable. And the first variables, this is the mean, okay, and then blah 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 until the standard error for that particular variable. So if you notice, I have the skewness variable, skewness information, sorry, skewness for that particular variable for pre and also post. So both of them are between plus or minus of 1. So basically they are within the range. So normality is being met for both the variables. Next is test of independence. Okay, again, as we mentioned in independent sample t-test, there is no particular statistical test that is available to test it out. So it's based on how we collect our data. So we have to check it out, how you actually selected these observations. So when the observations are not dependent of one another, we can assume that independence has been met. Okay. Then once we have met all these assumptions, we can actually run the paired sample t-test. So what I'm running here is running a t-test, okay, pre and post. So we are taking the data variable pre and post from data Priya, and then I'm using another comma saying that is it paired, okay, because initially we in independent t-test we also use t.t-test, okay, but we did not include this paired function. So now we are saying that, okay, both of them are actually paired data, okay, because they are coming from the same person in two different occasions. So once we have this one clearly written, we can run the analysis. Okay, so under the console, you can actually find that the paired sample t-test results are being presented. So it says paired t-test, it gives you the t statistics, it gives you the degrees of freedom and the p-value. So the p-value here is less than 0.05. So when it's less than 0.05, meaning there is a change between pre and post. That the difference between the pre and post is not equivalent to 0. means that there is a change. And then when you look at it, the mean difference is negative 2.05. So which one is higher, which one is lower? Okay, we can make that conclusion based on the mean. So if you notice, the mean of the first pre is 18.4. The post is 20.45. So basically what happens here is the pre was pre minus the post. So you can see that there is a increase in the scores after any treatment or the module. So the post scores are higher than the pre scores. Okay, but you have to make conclusion based on the questions. So for example, in this case, this will be the pre and post of statistics scores after online training, for example. So you take their stat score before any training. You give them 4 weeks of online training, and then you measure them again on the same instrument. And then you look at their post scores. So is there any difference in the pre and post? So if in this case, there is a difference on the pre and post. The pre was only you have the statistics score of 18.4, but after it is increased to 20.45. So there is an increase. Okay, so meaning the online courses, online training, online tutorial has a good impact on the students' statistics score. Okay, so hope it was clear. As usual, if you have made the changes, you want to save it, so make sure that you click on the save current document, or you can go to file and save as. You can rename it. Okay, so since I've already set my working directory, so I will just click on this save disk button. Okay, so once it's saved, it will turn back to black. So that is pretty much for the PAT sample t-test. Hope it was clear. I'll see you in the next tutorial session. Thank you.